Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Project Diablo 2 video. It's actually been a while since I did my last one, mainly due to the reason that Season 1 was winding down and I didn't really find a lot of motivation to play anymore, but now Season 2 is underway and I want to show you the very first build I did in Season 2 tonight. This is a build I've been wanting to do for a while now, and then I read the patch notes and see that the skills were actually buffed, so I thought now might actually be the perfect time. I am gonna present you today the Fire Amazon. Definitely a more exotic build, if you will. I wouldn't necessarily call it a meme build, considering she actually does surprisingly good amounts of damage, and I pretty much got through the entire game self-found with little issues. Like, there were a couple of times where I was like, this might be tricky, but generally this is a really nice build to play around. So, first of all, let's take a look at the skills. So the fire build, obviously as the name says, is gonna focus mostly on the fire skills, mainly around the exploding arrow. The exploding arrow got buffed really well in Project Diablo 2 with the synergies. Get synergies from both magic arrow and emulation arrow, and this is another thing that's really nice about this build. You're gonna run into a lot of fire immunes, so you want to have some other means to kill those monsters as well. And while the Merc does a good job, sometimes you also run into enemies that are both fire and physical immune. And in cases like that, it is really nice to have the magic arrow max, because that one actually does decent damage. So there is pretty much no enemy that you're not gonna be able to kill. I mean, obviously it's gonna take a while, but you're pretty much able to down everything. And another nice thing is, since the exploding arrow only has two synergies with the magic and the emulation arrow, you only need 60 skill points to max out the entire skills, which leaves quite a few points open for the passive tree. I did max out the Valkyrie here. I do want to try it eventually to get it to level 30, just to have a third one. And not only does that give you an additional Valkyrie, but they're actually pretty tanky. Like, Boason usually likes to stand in the back, do nothing, and just shoot. And two Valkyries and the Merc do a pretty good job when it comes to tanking, so that works out pretty fine. In terms of stats, nothing special. As you can see, this is still a work in progress. My stats are all over the place, basically, so usually, as always, you want to put enough points into strength to pretty much just fit all your gear on. You want to put some points into vitality to get to a life point where you don't die. I eventually want to get up to 1,000 life with life skillers and stuff, small charms. But 700 to 800 is usually enough if you know what you're doing. I did try to get my stats up quite high in Hell now as well, because my main source of being killed in this build so far, luckily this is softcore, else I would have been dead a long time ago, but like 90% of stuff that killed me was actually the cold nova from bosses going off. So I tried to like at least get my resistances up to some kind of point where you don't get killed immediately when something goes off. And obviously the rest goes into dex. You're very likely to not do that much physical damage. It's going to be enough to kill fire immunes, but don't expect the damage to keep up with a multi-shot Son that has super optimized equipment, obviously. I mean, the good thing is, and that is another thing, we took a look at the skills here. Since you want to have plus skills on this build, it is much easier to get up to decent amounts of damage compared to a physical Bowie, mainly because the gear, there is a lot of budget gear that you can get in to get a lot of plus skills, like the Melody Rune word gives +3, you know, stuff like that. It's just way easier to get your damage up to a point where you actually kill something without needing to invest that much. So yeah, already talked about the gear, let's take a look into that. Obviously this is still a work in progress, like I said. My main weapon right now is Bloodraven's Charge, which also has the nice addition of having a level 5 revives. And the revives are actually pretty useful. Not in terms of killing stuff, because with level 5 they're not gonna do a lot of damage, but they tank quite a bit. So that makes the build even safer. So this is actually a build you could probably play on hardcore as well, because you have like two Valkyries, you have a Merc. If you have the Bloodraven bow, you have up to 5 revives. So you have a lot of stuff in the front line that's gonna be able to tank hits for you. Yeah, for the armor, I do have a Lionheart at the moment, mainly because it's cheap to get. The enhanced damage is nice, but it's not really needed. It's mostly because of the stat points and the resistances why you want to have it. I do eventually want to switch over both the bow and the armor. I'm not quite sure what I want to get though, because those are like super high-end options. Obviously for a bow you want to have Hand of Justice because of the Holy Fire armor and the minus 20 fire resistance. And for the armor, I'm not entirely sure at the moment. I kind of want to go for a dragon to get a higher fire, Holy Fire aura. But I don't know if it's worth it since neither of those actually give resistances. So I'm also thinking about maybe getting a Chains of Honor at some point. Mainly due to the high resistances and 2+ skills. But yeah, that is a budget build. Works perfectly fine for now. And yeah, another thing I want to mention is with the Matriarchal Bow, you need 75% increased attack speed to get to the 8 FPS cap, which is the second fastest in the game you can have. And you don't need a Fanatism aura or anything for like that. You need 75 increased attack speed. So we got 20 on the bow here. I got 10 on the gloves. I eventually want to switch them out for either rares with 2 bow 20 increased attack speed or magical 320s. Whatever's gonna come first, like this stuff is not really cheap either. I do have Mavina's helmet at the moment, mainly because of the 30% increased attack speed. I do wanna eventually switch that out for like a rare coronet, something like that, with, I don't know, 2+ skills, maybe a little bit faster on walk, all resistances, strength dex, whatever is fine. And the last 20 increased attack speed I actually get from the belt, from the gold wrap. I do want to switch that out with a Razor Tail eventually to get 100% Pierce. And the Pierce is actually a good point I want to talk about. Pierce is already good on a physical build, but it's going to become much more important in this build. Because the exploding arrow, when it pierces, it explodes again. So mainly if you shoot into a group of like 10-15 monsters, and the thing pierces like 3 or 4 times, you get 3 or 4 times the exploding damage in. And that's your main source of damage. So being able to pierce enemies is actually very important in this build, which is why I want to switch over to Razor Tail eventually. But yeah, we already talked about the helmet. Amulet, I actually got a really good one with 2+ skills. All resistances a little bit. Unfortunately energy and not like dex or strength or vitality, but that's fine too. For the rings, it's not really a lot of stuff. I crafted one here, which is mainly for the leech. I already said earlier, probably not gonna do that much physical damage with this build, but it is enough for a leech to actually mean something. So life and mana leech, while not making that big of a difference, I do think is a QOL update, if you will, especially the mana leech, so you don't have to chuck mana potions all the time. And the second one is just a rare with some resistances on it. Probably gonna get that replaced sometime soon as well. And last but not least, we got the boots here. Just rare boots, faster on walk, double resistances. Obviously triple resistance would be nicer, but it's still not that big of a deal. So yeah, as you can see, this is still a very budget build, but it kills pretty decently. I do like a bit more than 3k damage with the exploding arrows, and we're gonna show you later when we do the cow level. Last but not least, let's talk about the mercenary here. We went for an Act 2 mercenary, mainly because eventually you want to get infinity on it. Obviously, for pretty much every elemental build, infinity is probably the top choice when it comes to mercs. But there are 2 burr runes standing in the way of that. So yeah, that's not gonna work out yet, maybe eventually. But you can still put insight on him, and that not only makes him do decent amounts of damage, it also gives you the meditation aura. Once again, we talked about that you do a little bit of mana leech, but exploding arrow at level 30 it is here takes 11.2 mana, and with 8 FPS attack speed, you're gonna shoot very fast, so you're gonna run out very quickly. Other than that, it's just standard Merc equipment. I did found the Talrasha's helmet for the double leech that he wears right now. I'm still looking for an ethereal 3 socks armor to get treachery on him for more increased attack speed and the lesser fade effect. Right now he's still rocking the rock fleece. that I found, like, I think in Act 1 or Act 2 in Nightmare. So yeah, it's just like not really a lot of special gear. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Amazon. So we're gonna do a little cowrun to show you guys how the build's actually working. And yeah, I'm probably gonna speed that up a little so you don't have to watch the entire thing, but just to give you a little insight on how that Amazon works. So yeah, enjoy, and maybe we'll actually find something good. Let's go. Alrighty, so that is the Amazon. Unfortunately, no super good finds, but I did get 2 Worldstone shards, which is nice. So yeah, as you might have noticed, the revives, while being nice for safety, because it gives you more tanks, it also makes it harder to actually pull together groups of enemies to like do best amounts of damage, but that's just like a minor thing and doesn't really hurt that much. So yeah, I do again want to point out that obviously this is a more exotic build and it's never gonna do as much damage as a lot of the meta builds do, but it is still a very fun build. I do enjoy it a lot, and I do want to plan to take it even further, like try to get high-end equipment, because I do think that this character and this build has a lot of potential still left. I already cleared tier 1 maps with it, not hard ones, but it is possible, so I'm sure with more high-end equipment, this build has a lot of potential to do mega amounts of damage. So yeah, I might do a follow-up video on that if I ever get my hands on those pieces of equipment. So yeah, with that being said, that was my Fire Amazon. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel and comment if you haven't already. Also feel free to follow me on Twitch. Everything is linked below the video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, see you around. Thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.